Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. We're about to start our webinar, Interactive Trading Conversations. Welcome, everyone, and especially to new people. I see some new faces here. I need your help, as usual, with technical part. If you could just type OK into the questions window, just to confirm that you could hear me. And also type C, S-E-E, so I know that you could see the screen with AvaTrade logo. Thank you. I'm going to give it another few seconds to other people to join. And if you could please confirm, meanwhile, that things are working. So again, type OK for audio and type C for visual. Thank you. Hello, hello, guys. Again, I didn't get the confirmation yet. I hope you could hear me. And if you can hear me, please type OK. All right, Eric, thank you very much. You always a good help here. Okay, so let's start. I still see people coming in, but we're not going to wait. It's not fair for all of you guys that came on time. So, welcome again to our Interactive Trading Conversations webinar. We do this every Wednesday. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a Senior Account Manager of AvaTrade, and I've been involved in trading and industry in general for the past 24 years. Sorry to bore you with this information every time, but there's always new people, so I think it's good to introduce myself. So I started as a prop trader back in New York in June of 2000, and after 11 years of prop trading, I moved forward to a different way of trading and also started to mentor and educate others. And now I have a great opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. The agenda of the webinar, very simple. I'll explain more. We ask questions about specific markets. Sometimes people ask some general questions. I don't mind answering, but it's not the topic of the webinar. This webinar was created by me. Actually, it was my idea because we have a few amazing webinars that my colleagues and I are doing. So we prepared the presentation for you, and then there's a small section for the questions. Now, here, just questions, and then we'll discuss together. We'll speak about specific markets. So this is a podium for you, a platform that you can actually ask specific questions on any specific assets that we offer at AvaTrade. So I think it's a great opportunity. We ask questions, we'll discuss, we analyze. We'll talk about instruments by looking at the charts, trying to see what can we come up with as far as a simple technical analysis. Also, if I know any technicals on those instruments, I'll be happy to share with you as usual. And we have up to an hour. So my ideal setup would be if you just continue asking questions and we'll keep on going after an hour. And as usual, if we're running out of questions, we're going to close the webinar. Because I'm not here to fake questions. I think I would stop respecting myself if I did that. So we're not going to fake questions. So let's ask real questions with real answers and discussions. Also, as I always mention, a lot of people will be watching this on YouTube as a recording. So obviously they cannot ask the questions. So they will be relying on you asking the questions for them so they can learn a lot. Okay? All right. Risk warning, you can find a full statement at avatrade.com website. And of course, we do not offer any suggestions on the trades. This is purely educational. Social media channels, you have Telegram, you have X, you have YouTube. As I always say, it's my favorite. There's a huge spectrum of different kind of information, including educational material, tutorials on the platforms, and webinars, as I mentioned. If you missed the webinar or you think you missed the webinar, you can always access it on YouTube. And of course, make sure that you subscribe, click on that bell that you'll be notified for new things coming. And also feel free to share, and please write your comments and questions. That would be great to hear from you. A little bit connection and just feeling your needs. You can write your suggestions and so on. Okay, we're going to bring now the platform. This is the MT4. I also have MT5 ready if we need that. Here comes Eric with the questions. Thank you, Eric, for starting. And guys, please, let's be active. I love when there's more questions. That I think we never run out of time, but sometimes we do run out of questions. So let's be active, okay? All you have to do is just type the question into the window. We'll read it one by one, and we'll discuss. Okay, Eric is asking the following: how long can oil go? How low can oil go, and how high can gold go? Can we look them up? Thank you. Great question. Actually, right as I was starting the webinar, I was looking at oil because inventories just came, and it looks like the inventories are pretty good. They're much lower than expected. I'm looking at the numbers now. A previous number was 1.35 million. The expectation was minus 2.8 million, and the result was almost double of expectation, minus 4. So it's kind of a bigger shortage of oil than was expected. So I assume the oil might jump a little bit, but let's see. The numbers came out a few hours back, and the oil actually continued lower. It doesn't mean that it will not go higher here, but the truth is, if you take oil, let's take a quick look. By the way, anybody has their opinion on oil and gold, please type them in to the questions window. I'm going to read them, so we'll make it as discussion. That would be very nice. So oil, it's been really selling for a few reasons. Number one, as you know me, I usually bring China into the equation as a China index, unlike all the global indices moving higher, trying to confirm the highs. China index has been going down, and that's affecting the demand side, right? Also, there was a period, I don't know if it's over, but there was a fear of recession in the US and other things. So it wasn't so positive. It's still not for oil on the demand side. As again, going back to basics, any market has a demand and supply, right? If you come to the market to buy apples, is a huge amount of people looking for apples, and it's only I don't know, one stand or two stands or two people, two farmers are selling it. They can really control the price, and they can raise the price based on demand. So the same thing in any market, right? So interestingly enough, we just broke actually this previous support, or not technically not, we didn't close it, we could bounce here, but if we do close below this level around 72.5, that would probably create an opening for continuation to the downside. So here we tried this on June 4th. We made a nice bounce from here, came back, and then we made a lower high, and now we might be making a lower low, but it's a little bit premature, like anything could happen, but as of now, we are trading below that. Now, back to fundamentals. So China on demand side. Now also, it's been a move up with all the issues with Iran. We all know that Israel took out the leader of Hamas, who was visiting Iran for the event there. I think it was a funeral of the president who got crashed on that helicopter trip. So then the Iran starts screaming that they're going to retaliate and threaten and everything else. So that it kind of triggered the fear of massive war in the region, and the oil bounced here. But then starting the 12th, that was the peak of this recent move, and then we came right back. So it was kind of a V reversal here, pretty steep, right? So the question is, fundamentally nothing changed. We're still in a limbo in the region. Iran is threatening but not doing anything. they're pushing, and others are pushing Israel and Hamas to negotiate and to close the deal and start peaceful process. We don't know. It's not in our power, whatever's happening. So meanwhile, as the threat kind of cooled down of that widespread uh, war in the region, so oil actually went down. And in this case, that was kind of a release of a fear of a supply. Also, I think recently OPEC and other participants and analysts been saying that demand on oil is slowing, right? So China is one of them and other things. So I guess let's see if we close below 72.50 here, it might open. As you could see, since here we just kept on making lower highs, but the lows we're still holding this magic level around 72.5, right? Let's see what happens there. Great question. Now, second part of the question was gold. How high the gold can go? Reminds me a funny thing in my active trading years on Wall Street when somebody would ask, how low can something go? And I always used to say, well, it cannot go below zero. It's funny because if you remember during the pandemic, around that time, oil actually somehow futures on oil went below zero. I still don't comprehend it. I understand the logic behind it, but I still don't understand how something can go below. So the same thing here. We're in the territory on the upside. There's no man territory. We are at all-time highs. It could go to anywhere. It can go to infinity. There are a lot of talks who go to 3,000 and so on, but I was preparing for my webinar, I think, over the weekend, and there was an article on what was it? Don't remember where, but they said that there's a lot of physical gold being bought by both East and West. So we spoke about it, I think, in one of our meetings here, that the China were buying, and a lot of central banks are buying physical gold to offset the inflation. So that's also adding to the upside pressure. Nobody can tell how high. You see, if we had some previous level that we can kind of say, okay, that was the resistance, let's retest it. Now we're in the air, we're in the clouds, we can go anywhere, right? So it's very hard to say. But I think few things could add to that upside move or reverse it. One of them, actually, it's it's a smaller version of it. It's today FOMC minutes. They will be sharing with us their thoughts from last meeting. But everybody's really waiting with a lot of expectations for the Friday symposium in Jackson Hill, when Powell is scheduled to speak at 8 a.m. New York time, I believe. Or maybe not. Let me just check really quick. The symposium starts tomorrow. It goes for 3 days, and Powell's speech is scheduled for Friday. And the schedule is, according to economic calendar, is at 2 p.m. GMT time. All right, so you translate it in your local times. So I guess everybody wants to know, because the whole idea of this time, the meeting, which happens once a year, they'll be discussing the possible impact of the interest rate changes on the economy and the markets and everything else. So that could push gold higher, or you could push gold to correction or reversal. Anything could happen. So great question, but I don't think anybody can say at this point. We can say one thing: we couldn't break this 2430 level on the first attempt recently, right? So if we do go down, so that would be retest. But as far as the upside, no reference there. Eric, thank you for questions. Jerry is asking, does FOMC meeting minutes affect gold? Yeah, I just spoke about it. Definitely affect gold, affect dollar, affects equity. Like I said, the effect probably will be not so significant because there's more attention, more pressure into the speech of Powell on Friday. But still, definitely, market will be jumping. Another thing that affects the markets and everything else is that we're in the process of elections. So from now, Actually, also the article on Barron's, I think, from now until November 5th, it's going to be added volatility to the markets. Depends who's getting closer to the target as far as Trump or Harris, right? All right. So, okay, guys, we're ready for more questions. If you do have questions, you don't need to wait for me to stop. This way, we don't need to have pause. Just type your questions and we'll go one by one. So far we spoke about gold and oil and a little bit fundamentals and the speeches and the Feds, right? We're ready for next question. We're doing good. We're about 15 minutes into the webinar. We have up to an hour, so feel free to participate. Again, think of those people that are on YouTube, will be watching it on YouTube, and they can't ask any questions. So you're the channel for them for questions, and let's go. All right. New people, don't hesitate. All you have to do, just think of a question, similar questions that we discussed on any instruments, any markets, and just type the question into the questions window. All right. Let's go. Okay, so we're waiting for question. Jerry's asking question. Which is the ideal time frame to trade? As I'm new, maybe stupid question. First of all, Jerry, there's not the question is not stupid. It's a great question, and it depends. First of all, if you do have an account manager, you can discuss it with them. Which time frame to trade on? It depends. It depends what's your objective. It depends what you're trying to do. If you're a swing trader, it's different game than if you were a scalper or a high frequency trader or day trader. Okay, so you decide. But in any event, doesn't matter which time frame you choose. It's important to zoom out, right? I always bring an example of a museum. If you come and you see the painting on the wall and you want to see it, you're not gonna first come and really stick your eyes straight into the canvas. You're gonna step out, especially if it's a huge painting. You want to see the whole painting, and then if you're trying to figure out the technique and the texture of the painting and so on, you come closer and try to analyze it. Same thing. So you zoom out. You can watch or take a look at the. For instance, I'll just give you an idea of. Okay, we're watching gold here, right? So this is the monthly chart. Each candle represents a month. So you see the big picture with a huge extended move, few corrections, and we have 5 months or 6 months straight move to the upside. Then you can zoom to the weekly chart so you can see the few attempts here of breaking the resistance. Last week we finally broke it with a nice move and we're sitting here. So you get an idea, okay, we're in a strong uptrend. Then you look at the daily chart, the picture becomes a little bit more local, right? You have more attempts here, then you can go 4 hours, 1 hour, and then, the smaller time frames, traders are using it for more precise entries, so you can have a better entry to save a little bit of money, okay? All right, I hope that helps. Stefan, again, if I mispronounce your names, please forgive me. Stefan is asking, with the elections coming soon, what are the best currency forex pairs to trade daily? Again, as I mentioned to you, we do not recommend any specific things here to trade. It's totally your choice, but logic comes in. Any major pairs, especially if it has to do with the dollar, absolutely is being affected, right? So you see what you like to trade and connect to that, okay? Always asking, hello, what's happening to natural gas? Do you see it going bullish soon, considering it was at about 10 a while ago? Great question. I tell you the truth, I hate to say it, but I personally given up on natural gas. I was trading it at some point actively. If you remember, I'm sure Eric remembers, and maybe a few more people here. I mentioned this idea here a while ago. I just realized there was actually a connection here, a 4-year cycle on natural gas. 2016, Eric, please write if you remember me saying it in the group. I just want to make sure that I did talk about it. So 2016 March, the move started. Then we came back 2020 February, March, 4 years exactly. From here, we made a huge move. As you said beautifully now, that we did reach 10. The peak was 2022 August. I think this was the war in Ukraine. I believe the fear, okay, no more gas. But take a look. We went back even faster than we went higher. And guess what? Exactly 4 years later, 2024, we're back here. So when I spoke about it, thank you, Eric. Eric just confirmed it. So when I spoke about it, I said we could have another move to the upside. How extended is going to be? It's not. It's nobody knows, but it will be. And actually, it did have. We had a nice move for a month of April here, and May was a very strong month. And then June, we tried. We briefly broke to 3, and it came right back. So the thing is, we could see 10 at some point. It could take a year. It could take 25 years. We don't really know. And I think it's irrelevant. What we're trying to do here is to see an opportunity to trade. So with some monthly chart, and on the weekly chart, you could see here we, after breaking through here, we came and made a lower low against the previous low here, right? And then slowly we moved higher. But still, as of now, we can say clearly, without guessing or looking for the crystal ball, we can say with confidence that the 3 level, it's really a level of a strong resistance here, right? We did break through it, came back, tested again, came lower. So every time we come back here, I guess the buyers are fearful and the sellers are certain that we're going lower. And so far they've been winning, right? Like here and here. So we did move lower, and as of now, we're holding this 191 level, right? And this weekly candle looks good, and the 2 consecutive weeks, like a week and a half, I guess, right? We're in the middle of the week, they look very good. We are in the top area of this candle. So I think if we do break, something that some people might consider it as a local bullish flag. So if we do break again through this, we might have another move to the upside. And of course, if we go through 3 and break it, that would give us a higher high, which could technically mean the change of trend, because so far we are making the high low against this level of February, right? So it's very interesting. Now, is it going to happen? And what's going to happen? We don't know. But we know 2 things. We know the resistance around 3 is in play. And we know that the current few weeks, we have a support around 188. A daily chart you could see right here, right? So take a look on the daily chart. It looks very nicely here. We had a nice base here, and we had a super nice move to the upside. We briefly broke to 3, came right back after 2 days being above, came back, and we're holding exactly the same level we held back in April. And for the bulls, the agenda is to break through this resistance of around 226 and start establishing support. And for the bears, they're trying to push it down and maybe retest again to 191, right? At least, so that's what we know, and I think that's good for us, because to guess when we're going back to 10 or 4, I think 4 used to be a strong area for natural gas for a while. I remember that some point back. Anyway, so that's natural gas. I hope it worked. Okay. What was the next question? Okay, Ola was asking natural gas. Okay. Boltomelo is asking, should I wait for the US market to open before I trade? It depends. If you trade US stocks, I guess you don't have a choice. You have to wait for the market to open. It depends what you trade. It's a good question. Some people like to trade because I think the most activity happens in the U.S. session because you have Europe is still trading, Asia is finishing trading, so they kind of stick together. And then you have also the volume of the U.S. markets alone are much bigger than any other area, Europe or Asia or anything else. So it could be, again, it depends what you trade, and it depends also where you are. If it's not doable for you physically, you have to wake up in the middle of the night or some odd hours, maybe not, but it's up to you. Nobody can tell you. But I understand what's behind your question. Yeah, there's much more activity, but they also add more volatility. Depends if you like it or not. Okay, good question. Jerry's asking what's your take on BTC. I don't have take on BTC. Actually, I don't have take on anything. And if I did, I couldn't suggest anything, remember? Okay. You see, in general, I have nothing against cryptos. But again, for disclosure purposes, I personally am not involved with crypto. I'm too old for this, even though I'm not that old, but you can figure out my age if I came to trade in the year 2000. I like instruments that have history, that have fundamentals. Even those instruments with fundamentals in history over 20, 30 years as equity or shares or anything, it's hard to make sense in this market thing. But if you come to cryptos, there's so much controversial things around them. Are they good? Are they bad? Now it's a new thing. I'm just going to share with you what I hear. You know, it doesn't mean I'm with it or without, but a lot of people actually are hoping for Trump to become a president, as the crypto traders, they think, based on what we hear, that Trump is going to push the cryptos, or at least support them more than the current Democrats do. So again, Kathy Woods, the CEO of this huge fund, she has a target price, I don't know, millions of dollars per Bitcoin. Some others are excited about it. On the opposite side, if you take Warren Buffett, his last meeting with shareholders, I believe he was saying, if I got offered all the cryptocurrencies in the world for $25, I wouldn't buy it because I don't really understand it. I don't know what to do with it. So it depends who you ask, right? But that's fundamentally. Technically, also, we can pay attention to technical things. We are holding between, the strong supports were around 56, and the strong resistance is around 67. So we are kind of zigzagging around that time. So if you remember, there was a huge excitement when the ETFs came in, similar to what's happening in Ethereum lately. So ETFs came in, we went up, and then we went down again, and went up again. It's hard to say anything about. If you remember FTX, when the CEO got arrested, that was a bad time for cryptos. Then they recovered. We had a nice run. Still on the year, we're doing great on cryptos, right? We had a huge recovery here from this base here, and exactly a year ago, August of last year, we came from 25,000 all the way to 71, 72. And now we really have a fight up and down in kind of the upper third of this move. Let's see, actually. Just do like approximate Fibonacci here. Yeah, we're right here on the 23% Fibonacci fighting. We tried to break lower. We did touch the 38. Again, this is the approximate numbers. But again, it looks hopeful for people that are holding it and expect it to make money. Some skeptics would say, I don't want to touch it. It's up to you, right? I know a lot of people are just holding it. Others like excitement, and they day trade it. It's whatever makes you happy, whatever works for you. But it has to work. If you keep on doing it, it doesn't work, you might reassess your actions. Okay, great question. Eric again asking, GBP USA higher today, even though UK borrowing higher than expected in July. What is driving the market? Simple. any U.S. related pair, it's all about dollar. Look, dollar is tanking. As we're getting close to that decision, we just broke the trend line. I just made this trend line yesterday. You connect the bottoms, we just broke. We were tanking on the dollar. So I don't know fundamentally what's happening with the pound, but across the board, the dollar is selling. Uh, here you go, even against Canadian dollar selling, and Aussie and New Zealand dollar having a party against USD, right? By the way, good levels here, okay? Possible resistance. So you watch dollar index, and let's see, as we're falling here, maybe there's a possibility we actually come all the way here. We're not that far. We made so far this week move less than we have left till retesting this low of December, end of December last year, right? 8.5 months ago. So that would be around 100. And of course, psychological number 100 would be probably played around. But it looks like people are fearful, especially into the September 18 meeting when there's going to be a rate cut, right? So great, you're trying to analyze GBP. I'm sure there are reasons there, but again, back to the pair. A lot of it's dollar related, and interestingly enough, we are approaching this high that we established a year ago, July. Yeah, 13 months ago, we were around this level. And then the sell-off was here. So we had the key levels, very interesting. We might see the bounce or we might just go through it. And this is the second week. Sometimes what happens, you see 3 consecutive candles and then maybe a stop. Again, there are a lot of things, but we're not here to guess. So far, as dollar's falling, the pair is going higher, right? Good question. Thank you. Eric's asking, okay, Eric wrote, okay. Tato is asking, does CPI and jobless claims data has impact on the indices? For sure, absolutely. You have few things that affect currencies indices, and gold is connected to it as an inflational instrument and also safe haven. So you have a few significant news, especially these days with the Feds in play with the interest rate games. CPI data very important. PPI data is very important. CPI is much more important. There's also consumer spending expenditure is important. Job numbers, if you remember, less numbers came low, I believe. I might be mistaken because it's the end of the day. I'm a little bit tired. But when the numbers came lower, everybody got panicky that we're in the recession, and also unemployment numbers, I think they were expected 4.1%, we came at 4.3%, and definitely they are affecting the instruments that you mentioned. Very good. Okay, always asking, what do you take on USD in FOMC tonight at 7 p.m.? Like I said, most likely they'll be saying the same thing, that they're paying attention to data. It's all data dependent. They might say, some ideas about the upcoming things, but as of now, again, maybe we'll switch now to specifics. But people expect from Powell to say, okay, we're cutting so and so. He will not say that. They give us some clues. They give us some taste of the mood of the bankers, the Fed bankers, what they're trying to do. But as of now, it's pretty much the same music they play. It's data dependent, and so on and so on and so on. So, but tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Friday's speech, it would be, I think, more affecting the markets than today FOMC. Lately, FOMCs were definitely, you will see the moves up and down for sure, but lately they didn't have a huge impact on the market, the past FOMC meeting minutes, okay? Just remember, this is not the meeting. This is where they announce details about the last meeting. So I'm watching oil. We started with oil. Oil is selling, but we're right next to this tail here from the August 5th. Interesting how the oil is going to play from here. Okay, so that's FOMC tonight. Jerry's asking, what's the correlation between gold and indices? There's one correlation which not always working. I remember about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, it was a day where all three assets were going up. Gold was going up, dollar was going up, and the equity markets were going up. So that was kind of a paradox. But to answer your question, the correlation usually when gold plays safe haven. Okay, when the market is selling, especially the panic is selling, often you could see that gold is moving higher as people are switching from risky assets into gold, which historically, we're talking centuries, played role as a safe haven, right? We all seen in old movies and read in books that people just held their savings in gold coins and just travel with those little bags of coins. And it doesn't matter where you are, what borders you cross. It's the asset, it's the commodity that you can always sell or exchange for food. Same thing, right? So when the indices are selling, sometimes you could see that gold is gaining strength and vice versa. When the market is running, people say, why should I hold money in gold? It's so passive. Let's just, some risk appetite is growing. Let's just make quick bucks, right? Good question, Jerry. Okay, guys, we're doing great. I appreciate your participation. We still have time. We're about 37 minutes into the webinar. We still have at least 20 minutes, and I would appreciate if you ask more questions so we can add value to this webinar and to people that are going to watch it on YouTube. Do we have more questions? Going once. Going twice. All right, guys, I don't want to push you. You've been a great audience. I want to thank you for participating. It's been great. Don't forget about the social media channels. Please put your likes on YouTube. Write your comments, questions, share with people you like, and have an amazing week. Don't forget about Powell's speech on Friday. And we are less than a month to that Fed's decision. All right. All the best, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful evening, night, morning, wherever you are. See you in a week.